Quit buying the pre-ground store-bought beans that you use in a drip coffee maker. Buy some espresso beans and grind them yourself. The grind makes all the difference. So the machine appeared to be failing, right? But when we changed our grind, we began to see the pressure bar begin to move. As we ground finer and finer and then added even a little bit more beans, we got the perfect pressure amount. Hey guys, Jeremy here, and today we're taking a look at the Neretva espresso machine, which was sent to me at no charge for this review. The manufacturer actually asked me to do a tutorial video on how to create the perfect cup of espresso. Reason being is that they've had a few complaints come in about there being low pressure or no pressure and the flow being way too fast. Now, I've been using this for a few weeks now, and I have a cup of espresso every morning and sometimes again in the afternoon. So I'm having 1 to 2 espressos a day, and I feel like I got my espresso pretty well dialed in. I'm not perfect, and it's not going to be the perfect cup of espresso. I don't know if anybody can make that just yet. We can get really close and be really good, but we always have room for improvement. And so we're going to show you just a couple of different scenarios that may produce no pressure or low pressure and then a pretty fast flow. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is look at a dark roast. As a matter of fact, this is a very popular brand right here. This is Lava Azza Espresso Barista, and this is a dark roast. And what we're going to do with this dark roast is that we're going to grind it pretty coarse, okay? Sometimes what happens is if we grind really coarse, we're not going to get much pressure, and then we're also going to get a fast flow. We're going to get a weak, sour cup of espresso. Okay, so you notice on that cup, the pressure gauge did not move, and I got a full cup of espresso. Now, the reason that we have that issue is because that is ground way too coarse, way too coarse. Now, if we grind that really fine, then we can get it so compact that we can't even get the flow to come through, and it's going to drip like syrup. So it's going to be important for us to find the perfect grind so that we can get the right cup of espresso. If I'm using 18 grams of beans, I should be getting about 36 grams of output. However, if you'll notice here, I'm getting somewhere between 70, 80, maybe even 100 grams of output, which is far too much for the 18 grams of beans that I put in. So coarse ground is going to cause your pressure gauge to show low or no pressure, and it's also going to cause your flow to be way too fast. So we're going to regrind that now, and we're going to show you what a good cup of espresso looks like. Okay, so you saw that I stopped that cup right away because pressure gauge wasn't working, which is perfect for this video because over the last 2-3 weeks, I've not had an issue with the pressure gauge not moving. A couple of things here. I'm using 18 grams. I could probably bump that to 20. That's the next thing that I would do to get the pressure correct. I would also continue to grind it just a little bit finer. It's currently set on 5. I could probably dial that back to a 4. Possibly even a 3. So what I'm going to do is we're going to bump this up to 20 grams now, and we're going to dial it back a little bit on the grind. Okay, so this time we are back, and we've got 20 grams in here. You can see we've got a fuller puck, and we dialed down to a 4 on the grind. And so we're going to see if that is going to create enough pressure to give us a good cup of espresso. Okay, so what did that cup just tell us? That tells us we've probably got our amount right, but we could still grind a little bit finer to reduce the flow through the puck. We could also use a puck screen, which would be a more even distribution of the water, and it would also slow it down. So what we're going to do is the same bean, and we're going to grind it just a little bit finer at 20 grams and a grind of maybe a 2, because we really need to slow this down. Notice the gauge is getting into the normal area. Okay, so what is this telling us? This is telling us that we're getting somewhere, right? So we went from a dark roast, coarse ground with a full cup of espresso and no pressure, which made a weak, sour cup. We only changed our grind the next time and we had the same problem. So we shut that off real quick. Then we did a third cup where we added more beans and we ground it finer. So we went from 18 grams to 20 grams and we took our grind from an 18 all the way down to a 4, and that got us a little bit of pressure. And so we stuck with the 20 grams. We dropped our grind down to a 2, and we could drop our grind down one more time, and that would probably dial in our espresso there. But we're going to switch to a different bean. So what we're finding here is the roast, the grind, and the amount is making all the difference. Now, you only want to change one variable at a time, okay? So if you're trying to dial it in, I would first deal with the grind, okay? If you get your grind all the way down to a 0 and you're only using 18 grams of beans and you're still getting a fast flow, I'd go ahead and bump it up to 20. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch to another bean now. We're going to go from a dark roast and we're going to go to a medium roast bean. Okay, so I have switched my bean to the Intelligentsia Black Cat Espresso. This is what I make every morning. This is what I've done for about a year now. This is the only bean that I've used. And it's a medium roast bean. And we went with 20 grams. Notice here. Notice the amount. This should be the ideal cup of espresso. So what I should have is 40 grams of espresso. Now my cup weighs 105. So I'm just a little over 50 grams here, which is not bad. It's not bad at all, but it is not the perfect cup of espresso. Still needs to be dialed in just a little bit. Now, what I want to do for you is I just want to check the extraction on this. And I want to see where we are at. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to turn over to the screen record and we're going to plug these numbers in again, and I'm going to show you where we are at on our cup of espresso. So what we're going to do is put our dose in at 20 grams, then our yield was 51, and then our time was 30 seconds. And then we're going to move here to the brew result. And we're going to take our TDS and we're going to put in an 8.42 and boom. And look at that. We are near perfect on that cup of espresso. Okay, so I know I said in the beginning that I was going to do some store-bought coffee grounds and we was also going to do some store-bought pre-ground and stuff like that. But, you know, I think that we've learned our lesson right here, that what makes all the difference is going to be the amount you use and the grind you use. So whether you're using a dark roast bean or a medium roast bean, you can still get the perfect cup of espresso, and it's all going to be dependent upon the amount that you use and the grind that you use. So if your pressure gauge is not working, or if it's showing low pressure and you're getting a full cup of espresso, my suggestion is quit buying the pre-ground store-bought beans that you use in a drip coffee maker. Buy some espresso beans and grind them yourself. Or if the store has a grinder, have them grind it for you. If you're getting it at a coffee shop, have them grind it for you. And you just have to do a little bit of playing around with the machine. Now, it took me several cups to even get my pressure gauge to move. And so that's all going to be dependent upon the grind. So you make your adjustments and only make one adjustment at a time. So that you know what variable is causing either the weak or the strong cup. So the Neretva espresso machine is really a beginner's machine. Right out of the box, you should be able to make a perfect cup of espresso following the instructions that I gave you here today. And I think that you're going to be well pleased with it. So go back to the drawing board, weigh out your beans, get the right grind, and then check your output. Make sure that your output is just twice as much as what you put in. 18 grams should give you 36, and then 20 grams should give you 40. If it's giving you more than that, then it's going to take that level of strength and bitterness and it's going to bring it down, and it's going to make it a little bit more palatable. So having a little bit more espresso than 40 grams, it's not going to hurt anything. That 40 grams, it might be just a little bit too strong for you. It might be a little bit too bitter for you. And so you can weaken it just a little bit, allowing that to continue to flow. So like I said, this is just about a perfect cup of espresso. I'm very pleased with it. We're going to go ahead and sample it. Yeah, that's so much different than the other ones. The other ones were weak and sour. One thing that my son says about my cups of espresso is that they're surprisingly smooth.